Hello Guardians, I am Ascendance, and we here at 4FS Gaming are very excited about Destiny 2. With the beta out this weekend, I thought I would give you a taste of what we do here on this channel and begin to break down the specifics of the Sentinel Titan class. You may have already seen a few videos that show you this ability tree here and explain what it means, but we like to go a fair bit deeper and test out exactly what is going on with each of these nodes. Remember though that all of this data is collected from the beta, so there will likely be some changes into the full game. Let's begin by talking about the general Titan capabilities, starting with your jump options. You have three options to select from: High Lift, which maximizes jump height, Strafe Lift, which maximizes horizontal mobility, and Catapult Lift, which maximizes vertical jump speed. The following tests were conducted with a mobility stat of 0. We can see that in the high jump test, the high lift definitely wins out, with the other two reaching about the same height. However, strafe lift has a much longer hang time, while catapult lift reaches its apex and then drops to the ground much faster than the other two. With regards to the long jump test, you most certainly cover the most distance using strafe lift, and catapult lift provides an extremely short jump length by comparison. High lift is somewhat of a middle ground. Now, in original Destiny, the Titan lift ability could be used to do something called Titan skating. This involved pulsing your jump button while staying close to the ground to attain very high straight line movement speeds. We tried this out with the three options available to the Sentinel class. Using a baseline sprint speed as a control test, we can see that there is little difference between the speeds of any lift when using the Titan skating technique. The exception here is strafe lift, which provides faster movement but nowhere near as much as the original Destiny equivalent. This of course may be influenced by increasing that mobility stat, but that is something for another video. So we can conclude that high lift is suited best to exploring or navigating terrain. Strafe lift is the most useful for fast movement, and catapult is really only good at getting you high, quick, which can be useful when exploiting vertical space in the Crucible. The Titan class has access to two barriers that they can activate regardless of subclass. The Towering Barricade is a large rectangular shield with a duration of 20 seconds, and can also be destroyed after taking sufficient damage. The barricade blocks both friendly and hostile projectiles, but both friendly and hostile characters may pass through it. If an enemy makes contact with your barrier, they will take rapid ticks of damage as long as they intersect with it. Although this is not very much damage in PvE, in the Crucible each tick is around 30 damage, and they rack up very quickly. Your alternative choice, which is Rally Barricade, produces a much shorter barricading height, which will only protect you from fire while crouched. You may use the cover mechanic to peer over it and fire, and every time that you retreat behind the barricade again, your clip will be instantly refilled from your reserve ammo. Otherwise, this Rally Barricade performs identically to its larger counterpart. Your allies benefit from all aspects of the barricade, including the clip refill and the cover mechanic. Before we dig our teeth into the specific Sentinel abilities, please hit that subscribe button and like this video if you like where we are going with this type of analysis, so you can stay posted when we produce similar content for the full game, looking at all the different classes, weapons, and other mechanics. So let's have a look at the super. The Sentinel super ability, unimaginatively called Sentinel Shield, is multifaceted. If you do nothing once you activate the super, it will expire after 18 seconds, which is a considerable period of time, but obviously you are going to be attacking and using abilities while in the super, which will reduce its duration. Pressing your fire weapon or melee button while in super will cause you to strike with your shield. This does considerable damage, enough to kill an enemy guardian in one hit. You will strike in a 3-hit sequence if you continually hit the button, and lose momentum at the end of each sequence. This momentum loss means you cannot use the super to cross gaps or fly like the Blade Dancer in the first game. Each time you swing the shield, it will take a small chunk out of your remaining super duration, so try and save the swings for when you are actually going to hit something. One of the cooler aspects of this super is that you can actually throw the shield at enemies. The shield throw also does significant enough damage to one-hit kill an enemy in the Crucible, and can ricochet between enemies as seen here. Your shield throw is on a cooldown, so although it is possible to throw the shield twice during your super, you will not be able to throw the shield twice if you attack with the shield normally more than 1 or 2 times. Now the shield also of course has a defensive element as well, and it will be able to project a barrier around you when holding the correct button. This will allow you to close distance to your enemies, as the super does not help you very much at all with regards to mobility. During our testing, we found that the super was able to generate at least 5 orbs of light, which seems to be a respectable amount. We then investigated the other perks that the Sentinel has access to in the Destiny 2 beta. We can see that the Ward of Dawn perk can transform your Sentinel shield into a traditional Ward of Dawn, simply by holding down the super buttons upon activation. The bubble, which most of you will be familiar with, blocks all incoming and outgoing fire, and it will give you a powerful overshield in the form of Armor of Light. The Ward of Dawn will last for a full 30 seconds, and it generates 2 orbs of light upon activation. Defensive Strike is your melee ability, and it will generate an overshield for you and your allies when you strike and kill an enemy with it. Note that the charge will not be used unless you actually kill an enemy with the punch, so you cannot simply waste it by mistiming your melees. You will also deal more melee damage when this barrier is active. Now the difference is not huge, but it is a damage increase of over 10%, so it does make a difference. Note that these bonuses also apply to your allies who receive the shield as well. With the Turn the Tide perk, the overshield will last for 20 seconds, unless you take enough damage to have it drained fully. And it will also increase the reload speed of your weapons, as we can see here in the background. Now the range at which your allies receive the overshield is also quite small. This is a very similar range to that of the Rally and Force perk, which will restore your own and nearby allies' health when you net a melee kill. We can see here how this health regen appears. It begins the regeneration process, but does not instantly give you back a chunk of health, much like the Red Death perk in the previous game. Lastly, let's look at the Sentinel's grenades. The mag grenade will stick to targets. Even if your throw is not especially accurate, it seems to curve a little bit. It deals its damage in 2 distinct bursts, and is designed for a high single target damage situation. The Void Wall grenade is designed for area denial, and generates a damaging strip of void light as shown that will last for 6 seconds. On the other hand, the suppressor grenade is a simple area of effect explosion that will both deal damage and make it impossible for enemies to use abilities for a short duration. Now this is even capable of pulling enemies out of their super if it explodes close enough to them. Now of course, when the full game is released, we will be able to go much deeper again into many of these abilities, and secure damage numbers against various enemies and specific values for Crucible play. If you want to stay tuned to all the deep analysis that we will bring to bear upon Destiny 2, please subscribe and like this video to stay up to date. Thanks so much for watching. This is Ascendance from 4FS Gaming.